गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णुः गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुसाक्षात् परं ब्रह्म तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः. We are in Jnaneshwari Bhagavad Gita, chapter 18, verse number 44. And the topic that is going on at present is about Brahman, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra. And here it was, what are the duties of a Brahmin? What are the attributes of a Kshatriya? Today we will do the Vaishya, the businessman, in the producer. So who is a Brahmin? See, before we get into who is Brahmin, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra, in English it will be the wise, the intelligent, the seeker, the one who is committed to the truth, the God. Second, Kshatriya. Kshatriya is a person who is in our understanding, he is the manager, he is the leader of the society. And Kshatriya, Vaishya, he is the businessman, he is the producer. And the Shudra, he is the servant or he is the worker, which the education system is preparing in plenty nowadays. So some of them have clicked out of in that. So who was our Brahmana? It was told in the 42nd verse, Shamo damas tapas shaucham kshantirarjavameva cha jnanam vijnanam astikyam brahma karma svabhavajam. Brahmana is he, intelligent person is he. If we want to use just simple term, intelligent person, integrated person is he, through whom naturally, it is not that you can say both ways, that one is leading his life of all these qualities, or out of him, what the verse is saying is that out of him he has practiced enough. Now naturally these qualities are flowing out of him. And what are they? Shama, self-control; Dama, restraint of senses; Tapa, austerity; Shaucham, purity or cleanliness; then Kshanti, forbearance; Arjavam, straightforwardness; then Jnanam, which is knowledge; and Vijnanam, technology or the realization or the way to get that, and realization also. And Astikyam is belief in God. If we are following Bhagavad Gita, if we are the followers of Vedanta or followers of Vedas, we believe that there is one truth. We cannot go ahead, study the scriptures and say there is no truth. It's not question of whether we believe or not believe, but when we study these scriptures, Bhagavad Gita, Upanishads, Brahma Sutras, etc., we find this question is always there in everyone's mind. Who is controlling all this? Who is, what happens, from where do we come from, where do we go, who is making this world go round, what is the source of this whole creation, what is the foundation of this whole creation. And if we say this creation is a chaos, then there is nothing, it just is. And there are different philosophies, that is the Charvak philosophy. But in Vedanta, when we follow the knowledge path of knowledge, we accept that there is a source, and that source is all that there is. And on that all that there is, the entire creation is imagined. So yesterday's class also same thought came. What is it? Consciousness is one. Is there anything apart from consciousness? No. Is there anything apart from waters? No. Then what is the ocean? Ocean is a totality of water superimposed on the water, isn't it? What is wave? A wave is a superimposition on the waters. Wave the individual, ocean the total. Similarly, individual consciousness, you, me, and everyone, total consciousness, God. But who are these two? Because there is individuality, we have imagined a totality, because that's how the creation works. Creation has got two polarities, individuality and totality. Manifestation and unmanifestation, that's another way of looking at it. So, can this creation, where this duality of individuality and totality is there, can this individuality and totality express by itself, or there is a foundation, there is a substratum, there is a root? What is that which is expressing through both? What is that? Like ocean and wave are superimposed on water, what is it that on which the totality and individuality is superimposed? That is Vedanta. That is Vedanta. And that is you. That is the truth. To become so serious about this creation is committing sabotage on a daily basis. Now, when we are living in this creation, where do we live in this creation? Are we living in consciousness? If you are living in consciousness, you will get realized very quickly. But where are we living? We are living in creation. And what is that creation? We have a belief that we were born in this world, we have our parents, we have a body, we are getting old, and all this is part of the creation. We get hungry, we go to sleep, we wake up, all this is part of creation. Now, when we consider ourselves to be this body, majority of the people find themselves competing with each other, comparing with each other, isn't it? And when they are competing and comparing with each other, what does it result to? Misery and sorrow. They get frustrated, they get irritated, they become reactionary, and then they blame the God. Why I'm putting so much efforts, but I am not getting what I want. This is because we are not following, we are not in tune with who we are supposed to be. We have not recognized what is our natural inclination. What is our natural inclination? See? And that's when the problem comes. So what is our natural? So to find out what your natural inclination is, our Vedas, scriptures, Sanatana Dharma, it has divided the human beings into these four categories. It is not, you have to go beyond these four. Vedanta, the truth is beyond these four. It has got nothing to do with these four. But while you are in the creation, it is best for us to recognize which category of human beings we fall into. Like you say, I am an Australian, I am an Indian, I am an African, isn't it? Now, there is one person whom I know, they are from Sri Lanka, but they keep saying, I am Australian, I am Indian, I am Indian. But by features, by birth, by parents, that person is Sri Lankan. Now, as much as they have, when they were young, they came to India, they studied, they got educated there. But as much as they may believe that they are Indian, they cannot forget their root. You look at them, you know that person is Sri Lankan. And if you tell them, they get very angry if you say you are Sri Lankan. Similarly, an African comes to Australia, says, I am Australian. But by looks, he is, everyone can say, he is not from Australia. He is originally from Africa, isn't it? Exactly the same way. When we know these points about the categories of human beings and their duties, And we are not dividing here. What the example that I gave was by features, that you are an Australian or you are African or you are Indian, by features, by color of skin. But here human beings are not divided by height, color, no. But then how? By their propensity, by their attributes, by their duties, which they are naturally exhibiting in their life or naturally pursuing. They are attracted towards that particular lifestyle. You understand? Some people are naturally adept at accounts. Some people are naturally adept at being lazy. Some are very, very intellectual. They don't care about food. They don't care about relationships. They want research. You see, it is natural to them. Nobody is forcing them. Nobody is forcing them to spend sleepless nights doing research. But that is how their passion is. That is their nature. Same way here in Vedas, it is told that by karma, that by knowledge and action, based on these two, the categories of human beings are made. Now, okay, some people think they are intellectual, but are they practicing it in their life? Some people want to be manager. In companies, you find there is so much jealousy and competition. They want to be manager. But do they have the capability of managing people? Or they are only good to be governed, but they are not governors. So some people are like that. And now, are they going to live their whole life in frustration that I wanted to be a manager, there is discrimination, nobody is giving me the job, they don't want to promote me, and live a frustrated life? Instead, best you recognize where you are, as you are, what your qualities, etc. are. So who is a Brahmin? Brahmin is he who naturally exhibits in his life self-control, control of senses, austerity, purity, forbearance, and an upright nature, knowledge, realization, and belief in God. And these are either he is pursuing these naturally, he has got a bent of mind which is going after it, or he is already established in it. See? And why is he going after all these qualities? Because it's a natural pull. Nobody has forced. Nobody forced me to be a sannyasi. It was a natural pull. Why did it not happen when I was a child? It didn't happen. Why did it not happen when I was a teenager? It didn't happen. But for everything, there is a particular time and place when things have to come together. You may have so many desires within your mind, but every desire doesn't express altogether. At a particular, the circumstances have to be right for the desire to appear. Just as the environment has to be right for a seed to germinate. Seed doesn't germinate just because it is lying in a bottle. So our mind is like a bottle, it's there. But if that seed comes out, it gets the water, it gets the soil, immediately it will germinate. So at the right circumstances, these qualities in a Brahmin, they automatically germinate, and he finds himself being pulled towards perfecting these qualities or naturally being established in them. That is Brahmin. Now we also saw the Kshatriya. Kshatriya was, where is he? Kshatriya. Shaurya tejo dhrutir daksham yuddhe chapya palayanam danamishwara bhavascha kshatram karma swabhavajam. Then he says for the Kshatriya, heroism, martial luster, firmness, dexterity, as also non-retreating from battle, generosity and rulership are the duties of a Kshatriya, born of his own nature. Born of his nature, swabhavajam. That is his natural propensity. to be heroic in wherever it is. He commands presence just by being there. Oh, why he is commanding nature? Why can't I get that position? Come there, you will get eggs. If Martin Luther King stands there, or Mahatma Gandhi stands there, millions of people will stand there and look up to them. If we go there, we'll get tomatoes and eggs. Get off the platform. Don't waste our time. See? But these people, they have that caliber, they have that then firmness. Whenever they decide, they are firm in their convictions, they are firm in their acts. Then whenever they decide something, they follow through it. Dexterity, that they are able to, if any situation that comes into their life, they are immediately able to spontaneously, they are able to find a solution for that particular situation. That ability is there in these people. Then, as also non-retreating from each one leads to the other. Next one is Yuddham. That they do not take defeat easily. They are ready to stand against opposition and they don't retreat. And that is this Kshatriya. And generosity, and because they have these previous qualities of heroism and luster and firmness and dexterity and ability and not retreating from a battle, they command the respect of people. See, they are the ones, these Kshatriyas are the ones who take care of Brahmins, because Brahmin is not interested in earning money. Why? He is busy controlling his senses and mind or teaching. See, Kshatriya, Vaishya, we will see next one. He is busy making money. It can turn into selfishness or greed. This fellow keeps him in check. Shudras, they are the workers. This fellow keeps them in check. And not check. Yes, it can be authoritarian, like in many countries, but best way, the ideal way would be that by his presence itself, everyone gets inspired. You see? So this was, till here we saw the generosity. So generosity, and because he has that capacity, so he believes in abundance. He believes that nothing is impossible for him. If whenever he needs the resources, they come from he can command the resources because he is the leader. So he gives generously. He doesn't calculate. And therefore, because he gives generously, people look up to him that he is our protector, he is our caretaker. And rulership. Wherever you give to people in abundance and generously, automatically all those people, they come under your control. You start ruling them and command their respect. And in this way, these are the duties of a Kshatriya, who is naturally exhibiting them or preparing himself, naturally being pulled to perfect in these various qualities. Now we come to the 44th verse. Not too much time is spent on this verse, this one and next one. It says, Krishi Gaurakshavanijyam Vaishyakarma Swabhavajam Paricharyatmakam karma Shudrasyapi Swabhavajam. Together, Krishi Gaurakshavanijyam Vaishyakarma Swabhavajam Paricharyatmakam karma Shudrasyapi Swabhavajam. He says, farming, cattle rearing and trade are the duties of a Vaishya born of his own nature work consisting of service is the duty of a Shudra and of a Shudra born of his own nature. So, in one verse, both of them are covered. Not too much time to spend on these. But remember, any society is made up of these four. You take a group of people and you leave them. I remember when I went to Hawaii to do a course with Robert Kiyosaki. So we were 15 people and group, and we were given a task. Automatically, one became the ideas person. One or two people became ideas people. One person became the leader who other people became the resource collectors, and others were happy to only follow the instructions. Automatically, a group gets divided into these four. Now, we have accepted that these four categories automatically people, you may call it ideas person, the leader, the resource person, or the worker. We have given it a technical name: Brahman, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra. That's all. And we accept it. There's nothing wrong to call an ideas person an ideas person. So if a person it's a research, see if the person is a research scientist, he is not interested in making money like a business person. Yesterday I was reading the Indian newspaper. In that, one person from Rajasthan, he failed 8th class. His father was a CEO of the railway something, and his uncle was a doctor, and his dad's younger brother was a doctor. Others were educated, but this fellow was 8th fail. He didn't want to study. So father said what to do. He put him into his friend's accountancy firm. He got into the accountancy. It was like fish to water. He started very quickly. He learned everything, and when he learned that, very quickly he got after a few years of learning all the ropes, he left the company and started his own lending company. After starting his own, today he is one of the biggest lenders in India, micro lending. 40,000 crore, how much it is that? That is $10 billion or $100 billion. I don't know how much it works out to be. From nobody to without any education background. So when people are continuously after the children, be an engineer, be a doctor, be an this, be an that, but his acumen is, his natural inclination is towards something else. We are not allowing that to explore. But parents do. They take them to different sports to see which sport the child. But that child is also smart. I don't like this. No, I don't like this. I don't like this. What do you like? I like playing sport on the phone, not physically. See? So here Jnaneshwar Maharaj says, तरी भूमी बीज नांगरू यया भांडवलाचा आधारू घेऊन लाभू अपारू मेळवणे जे किंबहुना कृषी जिणे गोधने राखो निवर्तणे का समर्घीची विकणे महर्घी वस्तू ये तुलाची पांडवा वैश्यांते कर्माचा मेळावा हा वैश्य जाती स्वभावा आन तुला जाण आणि वैश्य क्षत्रिय ब्राह्मण हे द्विजन्मे तीन्ही वर्ण ययांचे जे शुश्रूषण ते शूद्र कर्म पै द्विज सेवे परौते धावणे नाही शूद्रांते एव चतुर्वर्णोचिते दाविली कर्मे. He says, to make vast profits on the threefold capital of land, seed and the plough, in short, farming, rearing of cattle and buying commodities cheap and selling them at higher prices, and to maintain themselves by performing such actions is the natural duty of the Vaishya caste. Natural. You take Visa card. Who is the CEO? Indian. And if you read the name, it is from the business class of India. You take the CEO of Deutsche Bank, Indian, again from the business class of India. You take the CEO of few other banks are there, but also all the famous companies nowadays are all Indian CEOs. So as a CEO, yes, for a bank you can understand that person has the acumen to automatically multiply the money. But as a CEO of Google, Microsoft, all Indian, what are they there for? They are too mixed, probably all mixed. They are good leaders, they are good, they got brains behind. We are not talking about Brahman, but a little interpolation of Brahman qualities, because he is a researcher, he is ideas person, but he is a good manager. But he is also having knowing how to use the resources in the right manner so that the company becomes bigger and bigger and bigger and keeps the market share in the world, isn't it? It's all the job of a CEO only. See, some people have what you call green fingers. You give them any plant, you give them any seed, it will flourish. And some people you give them well developed plants, they will kill them, isn't it? So you tell someone to fix a broken wall, some people can't do it. Some people they will learn quickly and it's second nature to them. They understand it very quickly. So these are all, we have to recognize what we are good at. And when we see, are we good at controlling our senses, mind? Are we straightforward? Are we a Brahmin? Are we a Kshatriya? Are we a leader? Kshatriya is never a complaint box. He never takes favors from anyone. He will give favors. Who? Kshatriya, that leader. He will never take favors. He will always be a giver, but never a taker. Because it's below his dignity. It's natural in him. He wants to serve, but he doesn't want to be served. See? Whereas Vaishya, whom we are looking at, he is natural at making money. You give him 1 rupee, he will make it into 1 million. Where? I don't know. I'm just saying. Otherwise, you're thinking, where is this opportunity available? And here it is told, those who are coming into farming, cattle rearing, and trade. What are the trades? All the different trades: carpentry, bricklaying, manufacturing, this, that, everything. In Melbourne, I know one person, they wanted to go back to India. They met me. They started coming to Sanskrit classes, and after that, 2 years break in between, then they started coming to Bhagavad class. And they said, after a few classes, they called me for food. When they call for food, only something they want to ask. They said, we want to go back to India. I said, don't do it. And I was very strict with them. Don't go to India, because you will suffer if you go back to India. And luckily, in 2-3 months' time, our Swamiji Anuvananji also came, and they also called him for Bhiksha. But one answer is not enough. Now, from the big post, they want to hear. So they asked him. Immediately he said, no, don't go. But today, yes, it was struggle in the beginning days. But today, he employs 14-15 people. He employs 14-15 people. He's giving that salary. He's running. Their families are run because he has a factory. See? And so, if he had gone back to India, maybe he would have not been able to start anything, because all the red tape is there. But he is good at. But if you put him to give lectures, he can't give lectures. Maybe he can give it to his sons, but not. But he is good at what he is doing, therefore he has become successful at it. See? So recognize. Those who are farming, cattle rearing, and trade are the duties of the Vaishya. Such people are automatically inclined towards these what do you call these three. To make plow. In short, farming, rearing of cattle, and buying commodities cheap and selling them at higher prices, and to maintain themselves by performing such actions is the natural duty of a Vaishya caste. Now, how many people are betting on crypto? How many people are on the share market? What is that? Buying shares, thinking they are cheap, and hoping that it will go up and then will sell. Many of them become paupers. Because why? Everyone is doing it. Every day in your phone or your email, these are bombarded to you, and you think you are good at it and you put into it, but you have got no acumen. You have got no idea what to do with this, and you buy at a higher price and waiting for it to go higher, it goes down. Oh my God, what will happen? My last saving has gone. What do I do? Then suicide, depression, irritation in the home. You will not tell what wrong you have done, but you will take out that frustration on other people, you know. But this is how these people are. So, smart ones. I remember the person who organizes Swamiji's lectures in Delhi, one Padam Chand Gupta. So, he was having his shop in Old Delhi, and he used to buy grains, you know, rice and lentils and all, and he used to sell it, wholesaler. And the market became very, very competitive, and he could not. So he came to Swamiji. Swamiji, my business is going down. What do I do? He said, get out of physical goods, get into commodities on the share market. And he got into commodities on the share market. You okay? He got into commodities in the share market, and he was a businessman, and he very quickly understood the whole game and became a millionaire. Natural flair for it. See? So in this manner, our prize is Vaishya caste. And to render service to the twice born, viz. The Brahmins, Kshatriyas, and the Vaishyas, is the function of the Shudras. Who are Shudras? They are the servant class, they are the helping class, they are the lower, those who do not want to study, those who do not want to control their senses, those who are not the leaders, those who are only good at following orders. There are some people like that. You go to any company, they don't want any responsibilities. They are happy. What? Give me my daily wage and I am happy. You know. You go to Dandenong. Every morning there are places. I have never been there, but the workers have told me. They all gather in that area, particular area, and the various companies they come. So the plasterer company will come. They'll say, "Oh, who wants to come? Okay, you get into this van. Bricklaying, okay, you two get into that van." Like that, they pick up these workers and they are given their daily wage for whatever it is, whatever that amount is, $100, $120, whatever. Cheap labor. But they are happy with doing that only because some of them are refugees, some of them are, I don't know, they have never studied, they came, somehow they got into the country, but no background. See? So these Shudras are those people who are good only at taking orders. They do not have the imagination, they do not have the acumen, the intelligence to create something, whether it is wealth, whether it is leadership and taking responsibility of the whole community, or it is the ability to seek the truth. The Brahmins, none of these. So what do? They serve these four because they are also integral part of the society. Every society is made up of these four. Ideas people, leadership people, business people, and working class people. So it does not mean that Brahmin is great and Shudra is not great. Because if everyone was a Brahmin, who will work? If everyone was a Kshatriya, who will work? If you didn't have, you probably are all four in one. All of you. Why? You clean your own toilets, you clean your own bathrooms, you cook your own food, you grow your own kitchen garden, you do your own sadhana. And like me, I give my lecture to myself when I'm at home because nobody to look at. So, all four in one. See? Do your own plumbing, do your own carpentry, everything, jack of all trades. But here also, you will see the cleaners, you can hire cleaners, you can hire carpenters, you can hire, see. So without them, if you don't have the acumen to do everything, who will fix the house? Who will clean the house? Big houses nowadays everywhere. Who will clean? You will clean. No. So they are equally important. But what happens is, because of the certain situations, because of the rule of the invaders over India for a long, almost 1300 years, all this became entrenched. It became Brahmin, gives birth to a Brahmin. You are born in the name determined whether you are a Brahmin or a Kshatriya or a Vaishya or a Shudra. See, and if you are born in that particular in that category, you remain in that category for your entire life. But that was never the intention of this division. In our Vedas, there is full freedom for any person to raise his status from a Shudra to a Brahmin also. Like Valmiki Rishi, who was a Shudra, who was a killer, who was a looter, and he became a great Rishi who wrote the first poetry called Ramayana. Huh? Shabari was a Shudra. She got realization. She waited for Ram in the jungle for so many years. See? So there are many examples. Kabir Das, also a Vaishya. He was not Shudra, he was a Vaishya. He was a weaver. But no good at making money. If anyone came, whatever he made, he used to give it away free. So, big problem at home. So, Vaishya should be able to make money, but he never made any money. Why? The Brahman quality is, so by naturally he is a weaver because he has learnt it from his father. It is in his family. But by his propensity is towards a Brahmin because he lives for the higher. Continuing. So in this way, it also says that the Brahmin, the Shudra renders service to the twice born. So Brahmanas are twice born, Kshatriyas are twice born, and Vaishyas are allowed to be twice born. Meaning what? Twice born is, first birth is through your parents, and the second birth is when we become, or within us, say at a physical level, you get the thread ceremony. That means you are initiated into the Gayatri Mantra. But true twice born is that first birth is through the womb of the mother, and the second birth is when you realize that you are not the body. That is your second birth. And this possibility, it requires focus, it requires what you call continuous application towards a particular goal. A Vaishya who is naturally greedy, if he comes to know that, if he comes to know the truth, he will get everything. He goes after it single pointedly. So now his focus changes from money to God. Kshatriya, he becomes the ultimate ruler by following the truth. He also can realize. Brahmana to naturally, but Shudra he cannot. Why? He has got no intelligence of. He doesn't want to use his intelligence. He has a brain, but he doesn't want to develop it. He doesn't want to explore. He doesn't have the cleanliness. He doesn't have the acumen. He's naturally lazy. Every child who is born is a Shudra. Cannot clean his own shit. Cannot eat. All he can do is, who is a Shudra? Who continuously cries and complains. Child does that all the time. There's a Sanskrit that the one who continuously cries is called Shudra. Something like that it is there. So are we a complaint box day in and day out? Are we bickering about every damn thing in our life? Then we are Shudra. So just like a small child is till it grows up, it's totally dependent on others. Even to turn, it has to depend on someone. If he's wet, then susu, and it is cold, the child can do is cry. If he is hungry, cry. If he wants a toy, cry. If he doesn't see the mother, cry. If he wants to turn, cry. No other, can't communicate, can't do anything by himself, needs help. Such is the mentality or the disposition of these Shudra, those people who are come under the category of Shudras. They need help, they need support, they need to be taken care of, and they are always more in number in a society. They are always the maximum number in society. Okay. Now we move on to the next verse. Why all this was told? Important thing, I am giving you one answer, but Gita is going to tell us why all these four categories were told. What was the purpose? Swe karmanyabhirataha swe karmanyabhirataha samsiddhim labhate naraha samsiddhim labhate naraha swakarmanirata siddhim yatha vindati tachrunu. Together, swe karmanyabhirataha sansiddhim labhate naraha swakarmanirata siddhim yatha vindati tachrunu. He says in the 45th verse, man attains to perfection by being devoted to his own duty. Important. So Brahmana, if he is trying to, I have got these, I was contemplating on the truth. I was focusing, controlling my mind and controlling my senses. I got these powers now, siddhis. I think I should use it to control the people. Then I will get the wealth. This is what happened to Dronacharya. He was a Brahmin, but he wanted wealth. In the end, he had to be killed by Arjuna under the instructions of Sri Krishna. Why? He swayed away from his natural disposition. He is a Brahmin by birth also, by qualities also, but somewhere he got corrupted and he started thinking that how do I get power, and why he got corrupted? Only because he became hungry. He could not feed his child and his wife kept bickering at him. So he went to his friend who was the king of Drupad, Panchal, who was his classmate. He said, oh, in the school you told me that whenever I need, I will come and you are my brother, I'll give you half the kingdom. But I don't want half the kingdom, you just give me one cow. The king was a king, Drupad, great powerful king. He said, if you had told me just that you want a cow, I would have given you. But because you said that I promised you that I'll give you half the kingdom, and now you are telling me that I don't want half the kingdom, I only want one cow. I'll not give you anything. Get out from here. That hurt him. Brahmana should not get hurt. He should be, Brahman is who forgives straight away. Kshanti, forgiveness is his nature. But he swayed away from his nature. He kept those words, they struck him like an arrow, and his whole life was to take revenge against his friend. Is that a quality of a Brahmin? No. Therefore he had to be killed on the battlefield of Kurukshetra. Why? He swayed away from his original nature. See? So here also, man attains to perfection by being devoted to his own duty. Now, King Janaka was Sita's father. You know Sita, Lord Ram's wife Sita. He was a realized master. But he was a king. And 14 generations of kings in that lineage of Janak king were realized masters. 14 generations. But they never became sadhus. They did not renounce the kingdom and open an ashram and start collecting money and blessing people. No. They continued to live in the wealth and opulence. All the servants are there, the wealth is there, they are the ruler of the kingdom, but they are totally detached from everything, doing everything that is required to run the country, but they are abiding in their true nature. Kshatriya. So because their nature was to be that way, so they did that. And so point that we are making here is, don't run away from where life has kept you at this present moment in order to seek the truth. Then what should we do? Wherever we are, wherever life has placed us, continue pursuing what is to be required. Do your regular practice on a daily basis. Listen to satsang on a daily basis. Without fail, do your practices, do your contemplations, and one day it will click. But what happens? Many people, they run away from home. Why? Because they don't want responsibilities. Where? To ashram. They run away to jungle. I'm not saying all the ashrams are like that, but many ashrams. Why people have started ashrams? Because it's a good money spinner. Why people open charitable institutions? It's a good money spinner. Every cricketer opens a charitable charity. Why? You know the rule? In Australia, only 13 cents you have to spend on the purpose for which the charity is open. So it is some charity for free food. They'll provide free food. $1 million came. Out of that $1 million, they are, by law, they are supposed to spend only $130,000 on free food giving. They have to show the receipts and everything. Then what about the rest of the money? $870,000. That is your income. Live in 5-star hotels, buy properties, buy good cars, give a good remuneration to yourself. 5-star lifestyle. See? Man attains to perfection by being devoted to his own duty. Here now, how one achieves perfection by being intent upon one's duty. How, when we are focused on our duty, see, today nobody wants to do their duty. What do they want to do? I'm asking. What do they want to do? They want to do what they like. They don't want to do what is right. What is right is your duty. But people want to do what they like. This is the big problem in the society. So, what is right? Take care of parents. What they like, not taking care of the parents. Then what do you? No, I'm moving out. You can die your own death. They want to be. They don't want any responsibility. Why? Too much hard work. So this is the point. So first we explained the four categories of humans: Brahman, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra. Now recognize which category you fall into naturally, or that which is you have an inkling for. So here now it is said that by being in that particular profession or in that particular category, you continue pursuing the truth. I gave you the example of Kabir Das. He did not stop weaving cloth. Throughout his life, he kept weaving cloth. But with every, if you notice in the old times, it was hand weave. So you go back and you press with something in the foot, and then it used to make the sound khatak, 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 khatak. And as it was going khatak, 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 in his mind, in Kabir Das's mind, it is going Ram, 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 Ram. Got realized. Got realized. He did not say, "Oh, I have to study the Upanishads." No propensity, no inclination towards that. Huh? Illiterate. But he attained the knowledge only by making his mind focused. We want to realize by running away from our current situations. That is our problem. And when you run away from your current situations and responsibilities, then you become a complaint box. Then everyone in our life is how they are stopping you to realize the truth, how they are detrimental, how they are a problem. Because of who? Because of them you are not able to have peace of mind. Peace of mind is not because of someone. You have to decide. You have to control your mind. You have to control your senses. You have to cultivate these higher qualities which are conducive for realization. Because in the end, purpose is realization. We are in the Moksha Sannyasa Yoga chapter, last chapter of Bhagavad Gita. So we are, this is the samam bonam of the Bhagavad Gita. So here Jnaneshwar Maharaj says, आता इयेची विचक्षणा वेगळा लिया वर्णा उचित जैसे करणा शब्दाधिक नातरी जळदच्युता पाणिया उचित सरिता सरितेसी पंडुसुता सिंधु उचितू तैसे वर्णाश्रम वशे जे करणीय आले असे गोरेया आंगा जैसे गोरेपण तया स्वभाव विहिता कर्मा शास्त्राचे निमुखे विरोत्तमा प्रवर्तावया लागी प्रमा आढळ कीजे पै आपुलेची रत्नथिते घेपे पारखियाचे निहाते तैसे स्वकर्म आपैते शास्त्रे का करावी जैसी दिठी असे आपुलिया ठाई परी दीपे वीण भोग नाही मार्गुन लाहता काई पाय असता होय. He says, O intelligent Arjuna, just as the organs have their proper objects such as sound, so these different duties are proper for the four castes. How beautifully in one line he has told. Eyes cannot but see. That is their duty. They cannot say, "Nahi yaar, all life I've been only seeing. I think we should exchange our duties. Here you start seeing and I will start hearing." It's not possible, isn't it? So, all our senses, all our organs, limbs, they are all doing their duties without fail. Similarly, the four Varnas, Brahman, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra, they must also follow their duties, their swabhava, as mentioned. How do you recognize? Read and find out. And see which one you click in. Yes, everyone is not always completely this or completely that. There may be interpolation, maybe few qualities of Kshatriya, some quality of Brahman, some quality of Vaishya. It is always there. And if you take your whole day, in the morning, you are a Brahmin, you are quiet, you are meditative, if you do all that, when are you most productive, active, dynamic, till about 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock you are dynamic. After that, in the afternoon, you are lazy, you need a coffee, that is the Vaishya time. And when are you lazy? The last one, rest of the night. So throughout your day also, because these four, they are pervasive in every species. You take if you look at David Attenborough's ant kingdom, in that also warrior ants, those ant, there's a queen ant, and then there are the worker ants. They automatically, do they have the intelligence? But by nature they have divided themselves. Literally the warrior ants, they make sure that the passageway for the worker ants is always obstacle free. Nobody can come in and attack them. And any time if a worker ant falls down or immediately one or two warrior ants go fix him up, cut the food that they are carrying into half and distribute it, and work continues. They are the ones who find the way how to get back straight home with least difficulty. So in take the elephant kingdom, lion kingdom, every species, this thing is there. Rainwater falling from the sky has as its proper destination the river, and the river the sea. In the same way, the performance of proper actions according to the caste, varna, and stage of life, ashrama, becomes the performer, as fair complexion becomes a handsome person. So just as the water falling from the sky becomes a rivulet becomes a stream becomes a river eventually goes and merges into the ocean and loses its identity, isn't it? Is the purpose of the rainwater anything else other than to go and merge into the ocean? No. But where did the rainwater come from? It came from the ocean only. So that's the play going on, the game going on. The water vapor from the ocean went up. You don't see that going up, but you only see the rain coming down. But its purpose, once it falls, is only to go back to its source. Are we going back to our source? If we are lost in this creation, in competition, comparison, wanting what others have, without exploring our natural abilities, qualities, attributes, then that will come into our ambit is frustration, irritation, depression. Why? Because you are trying to do that which you are not having an aptitude for. Yes, I am not saying that anyone, if he pays the price and puts the effort, he can achieve whatever he wants or she wants in this life. But there is a price to pay. There is a price to pay. But when we click into our natural inclination, for example, who is this Harry Potter lady? What is the name? I can't remember. Whatever her name was, She was on dole. She was homeless with her kids. Writer, we are talking about. She was homeless, without a home, living on food parcels. Now, what to do? How to? She used to tell stories to her children. Then she wrote it down, and slowly some idea came because. But that came naturally. Why? The love for her children. And immediately following her own what you call duty that she was supposed, she didn't stop taking care of her children to write the book. She incorporated that in that and became a successful person. This is just one example I am saying. See? So here, in the same way, the performance of proper actions according to the varna and the stage of life. Now, what is the varna? Varna is the Brahma, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra. And what is the ashrama? Ashrama is Brahmacharya, Grahastha, Vanaprastha and Sannyas. What is Brahmacharya? Brahmacharya is your childhood. Childhood, what is your job in childhood? Firstly, you are dependent on everyone. Second, that is your student life. You study. At that time, if you do all unwanted activities other than studying, your foundation will not be formed, isn't it? Then, after brahmacharya, after your studies are over, what do? You get a job and get married. That in society we are saying, grahastha. You can bypass that and go straight to sannyas. That's not a problem. But in general, people go into the family life to satisfy their desires, to add value to the society, not to satisfy their lust, to satisfy the needs of the society, to produce good children, to have a companion throughout the life. See? So that goes again another 12, 14, 15, 20 years. How many? 25 years go in that. 2 cycles. After that, once the children have grown up, then what do? Continue to indulge in them or what? No. Then your third stage of life begins. What is that? Vanaprastha. Vanaprastha is when you move away from the relatives, you move away from the relations and start living an independent life, thinking of the higher. Why? Because the 20 years or whatever, 20 years, it was a life of indulgence. It was, you were dependent, you were continuously distracted. You must have been practicing. Some people are like that, but majority of the people are not doing that. Because if we have forgotten what our goal is, if we have forgotten what our goal of life is, if the droplet, the raindrop forgets what its ultimate goal of life is, what is it? To merge back into its source. Do we continuously are, just like that drop of water is throughout its journey till it merges into the water, there is an inner urge in the droplet to become one with the source. Is that urge within us? Is that urge within us? Or are we keeping that urge aside and spending time, oh, I want to do that, I want to do this, I want to do that. We get lost in that. How do we find out what is our natural disposition? Don't do, you continue. Whatever comes in front of you, you deal with it in the best possible manner, with the capabilities that you have, and slowly you will, everything else will sift out and you will be in tune with your own nature. So we are talking about brahmacharya was the student life, grahastha was the family life, vanaprastha was where we all are at this moment, which is vanaprastha means go to the forest and leave the home. Why? No, live minimalism. Minimalism. No more grand houses and everything. In other words, this minimalism is a mental attitude, not being dependent on anyone. Till today, now how many now? Since 96, I am, if you want to call, I am in this profession. But I don't take any dole from the government. For 25 years, since 96, not $1 I have taken from the government. Because it's a mentality. Once you get, you expect more. Yet, universe takes care. You see? So we have to develop that courage. Not, it's very easy. I fill the application, I'll start getting it tomorrow. But no. So explore. Is that more important, or that the divine is more important? Because everyone is doing it, so I will also do it. No. Vanaprasth. What is? I am not even Vanaprasth. I am sannyas. Who has renounced everything. But I want dole. What sannyasi you are? What sannyasi you are if you are wanting dole? Why? You want to survive. I got my bills. Oh, he will take care. He has taken care for 25 years. See? So it's you break through the norms set by the society. How do you break through the norms? By renunciation. So you are preparing for that. Vanaprasth is the first preparation, then sannyas. When that becomes ripe, sannyas automatically happens. And in that process of living life with minimum demands and renunciation, it is not for the sake of showing to the people. It is within you. It is in your mind. It's your attitude that you don't want anything. You are not a holder. You are not an accumulator. One of the first rules of Yama Niyama is aparigraha, non-accumulation, not only of the objects but also of memories. That's a big one. So you have to renounce your memories also. That's why we don't talk about our past. We don't talk about our past. Then when we have renounced everything, that means living in this world, we are not affected by this world, we are not influenced by this world, we are not urged to behave in a particular way by this world, we are being with our true nature. But then realization is not far. It's not far. But because we are continuously pursuing something other than our nature, because we have forgotten our goal. See? No, I want to be a raindrop all my life. But you fell, you became a stream. No, you became a rivulet. That rivulet joined a stream. No, I don't want to become a stream. Oh my God, so many other water will be there. I want to be a small one. It's safe, it is quiet. Then the stream joins a river. Oh my God, so much more competition. Baap re baap. Because so many drops of water are there in the river. This is how we are. Get out of this. Go with the flow wherever life has placed us at any given moment of our life. It is the right place for our expansion, for our growth. That growth is not going to happen by looking at life. That growth is going to happen by doing what is right at that moment and dedicating it to the higher. That is the answer. But if you, no, I don't want this, what did I do wrong? Someone was telling me, oh, Swamiji, we are good people. These are we are good people. We have been praying to God all our life. Then why all these difficulties are coming to us? People call me for food to ask these questions. First they ask the question, then they feed me. Why? We are good people. The fact that you have decided that you are good people is an expression of a big ego trip. That we are good people. Who declared that? Good people never complain. Brahmanas never complain. See? Please therefore fix, now he is giving the exercise. Please therefore fix your mind on performing your natural duties as laid down by the scriptures. Now, you ask yourself, for me, everything is secondary, primary is satsang. Once upon a time, work was primary, everything was secondary. Because that time it was question of I have to earn money. That was all I knew. But what used to happen? As time went by, when I came to Australia, first it was every morning I'll get up for meditation. Then slowly it became morning, and when I used to come back from work at about 8, 9 o'clock, then at night I used to sit before going to sleep. Then slowly the urge increased. Then I left my job. I said, yeah, this is not giving me enough time to meditate. So I resigned. I thought I will be able to meditate more after resignation. But what happened? One week I meditated nicely. From the second week, end of first week itself, the petrol, I had to ask money from parents. Money was not there, no savings. So how do you pay the car loan? How do you put the petrol? No money in the pocket. Then first time I went to Dole, I went for 3 weeks. So I got so disgusted with that feeling that I am taking a handout. Immediately I started looking for job, and I said, forget it. I will work and I will find time for meditation. And I prayed to God, please find me something. He got me good jobs. One in the morning, one in the evening. So in the morning I used to meditate at home. Between the two jobs I used to go to the Muktananda Ashram, Siddha Yoga Ashram in Fitzroy. Then come back home and meditate again at night. So 3 sessions every day. Okay? Because I had to do that. So we have to find time doing wherever life has placed us and continue our journey towards the infinite. As laid down by the scriptures, just as one should get one's jewel tested by a jeweler, one should know one's duty by reference to the scriptures. Even if one's vision is good, it is of no avail in the dark without a lamplight. So, how do we know what is our duty? Read the scriptures. Just now we explained Brahman, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra. Find out in which category you fall. And it is not a category for a whole lifetime. It is not. But if that is your mindset, then live that way. Scriptures do not bind you that you are only this for your entire life. We told you, by knowledge and by action, you can raise yourself. But there is, again we are repeating, there is a natural inclination in every one of us to express in a particular way. We are good at something. Find out. Find out. Without looking at the rest of the world. You find out what you are good at. Did I know I was going to be speaking so much for 25 years? Did I? No. If someone had told me that you have to give lectures, I would have run away. I was scared, out of my place in the beginning. But when you put there, what is the job? You are a teacher, you are an acharya. children are in front of you, first class children are sitting in front of me, about 20 of them, 25 of them. So first class, I don't know, I never taken a children's class, but I have to do, that's my job. I was asked to do it. So I said, okay, today we'll tell you this story. I started the story and one kid put his hand up. And he told the whole story in 5 minutes. I mean, now I had to spend 1.5 hours telling them something. He finished the story in 1.5, in 5 minutes. Now I was there, I had prepared only that story. I had prepared only that story. Then I remembered some other story. Again I told. Someone else put their hand up. He told this. So 2-3 stories I started and they finished it for me. Now when that happened, now see this, nobody has trained me for this. But now I said, how do I, my intention is not to be in competition with them. My intention is how I can add value to their life. Okay, they know everything, but how can I add value to it? So I said, okay, let's, if you know it, good. Now I will tell you the story. I had probably the book. I said, I'll read the story and I'll ask you some questions and you have to answer. So I started and they couldn't answer. I said, knowing the story is one thing, but you understand the character probably of Dhruv or of Nachiket or of Prahlad. So the character, what do you learn from the student? What do you learn from this devotee of the Lord? And that fired them up. Suddenly, before I was at their mercy, now they are at my mercy. Not mercy in that sense, but now for them it became an intellectual stimulation. It was not, we were not just reading a story, we were going after something deeper. Just like you can take this book and you can read it easily, you can read it. But with each sentence, how much we go deeper, we bring more examples. He's already given so many examples. We give even more examples. We try to look at it from different angles, put some experiences which we have experienced or which we have observed, and then communicate. It adds more value. That's why you are coming, otherwise you wouldn't have come, isn't it? So this knack cannot be taught. You cannot, nobody can teach you how to cycle. You have to fall a few times and then only once you have to learn how to keep the cycle in balance, and after that, yahoo. Same thing swimming. It's a knack. See? Control of senses, control of mind, Brahmana, it's a knack. He develops it. Kshatriya, commanding, rulership, it's a knack. Making the money, the Vaishya, it's a knack. It's natural for him. And you can develop it. You can. You can grow. Knowledge is there. Where do you get knowledge from? Where do you get knowledge from? From scriptures. Who is Brahman? Who is Kshatriya? Who is Vaishya? What is creation? Who is God? What is Paramatma? What is infinite? What are the three modes? Sattva, Rajas, Tamas. What is, that we, till I did not go to the ashram, I did not know that I was body, breath, mind, intellect. I did not know that. I never studied it. That 5 sheets, I never knew it. I never even knew what I'm going there to study. I went. See? So we can grow ourselves. We can grow. And that growth happens the, that growth happens only when we have done what we are supposed to do. Remember this. If we are competing, comparing, demanding, desiring, then it will have its own loop and it will keep taking you in a different direction. But when we are not shying away from facing life, what life is presenting us, we deal with it righteously, with a happy attitude, offering it to the higher and doing our sadhana very quickly. That will lead to purification. Where purification happens, automatically we raise ourselves, by way of knowledge. Naturally, if the knowledge has increased in us, then our actions must mirror the knowledge. If it is not mirroring, then we are a hypocrite. See? And this is the way of growth. So our scriptures do not say that you are there, you remain there for the rest of your life. No. And therefore, one more important point that comes to my mind here is, therefore, in society we see many people are very intelligent. Here also all intelligent people. But there is one drawback in these intelligent people. What is that? They want to study the scriptures by themselves. Scriptures should not be studied by yourself. Scripture should be studied only by Shravanam, Mananam, Nididhyasan. Whom do you study it from? You study it from an Acharya, and preferably that Acharya is a realized master. Or that Acharya who resonates. You feel that yes, it is right, what he is saying is clicking with me. Every person, you don't have to click with every person in life. It's not possible also. Similarly, with every teacher also it's not possible. Some people you listen once and it's theek hai yaar. But another person you want to hear again and again. Why? It puts you to sleep. Maybe that's why. So we must also do not try to understand the scriptures on your own. It is not possible. What we are teaching is what has been taught. The foundation has been laid by our teacher. His foundation was laid by his teacher, and it goes back to Adi Shankaracharya, 8th century. And Adi Shankaracharya himself is Lord Shiva, incarnated. See? So, how can we who are wanting to study the scriptures on our own and find our own meaning from the scriptures, how can it stand in front of the wisdom and of the last, 12, 13 centuries? It's difficult. It is of no avail in the dark without lamplight. That lamplight is the teacher. That lamplight is the scriptures. If one does not know which way to go, of what use are the legs to him? You read one scripture, it tells you something. Then this is what we see in our life. Everywhere I go, Swamiji, should I take the name of the Lord or should I do yoga? Then when there are those who are doing yoga, should I do yoga or should I do pranayam or should I do dharana? Arey, it's not a buffet. It's a progressive development. You find out where you are. But they want to know. Then they suddenly hear somewhere that Kriya Yoga. Oh, let's go for Kriya Yoga course. Then they hear this Mahatma has come. They go there, pay some money, go to that, get initiated, and then get thoroughly confused. Now what do I practice? I used to do that. Now I am doing this. Because they don't know. They are only, they have not put faith in that infinite. That's why they are scattered in their conclusions. Don't put don't put faith in a person. Put faith in the truth. Put faith in the truth. And that truth is all pervasive. It is everywhere. Its grace is always. All you have, the only way you can click into the truth is by thinking about it. So if one does not know which way to go, of what use are the legs to him? If you don't know where to go, people do pujas, people go to temples and churches, people do havan home. For what? Is it for God realization? No. They are doing it, may my disease go away. Another one does puja, may my child pass year 12 with good marks. Another one, it does pilgrimage. Why? The whole pilgrimage was not about God. The whole pilgrimage was, may my daughter find a good husband. That's why the pilgrimage was by the parents. Now that is, if this is the way, this is what he's saying. If you don't know what the legs are for, then what's the point of having legs? What is pilgrimage for? You don't know that, and you are doing something else only in your mind. So what are we doing the daily morning? Lighting lamp, praying. If we are studying Bhagavad Gita, am I studying Bhagavad Gita because I want the blessings so that I can become rich? I am studying Bhagavad Gita so that I get a beautiful girl to an intelligent girl to get married. Is that my intention? To get siddhis, to go to higher worlds? Or is it to recognize that in essence I am the ultimate, I am the infinite one? So who is going to tell you this? If we are not exposed to satsang on a daily basis, regular basis, and kept reminding again and again, and who can remind you this again and again? Only that person who doesn't want anything from you. Scriptures do not want anything from you. There are teachers who want something from you. They will ask for dakshina. They will ask for, we have to maintain the ashram. Are you a plumber? Oh, thank you. Can you give some service here? Electrician, can you do some service here? Gardener, come and demand. So it becomes a barter. I'll teach you and you do this. Then after some time that person will lose respect for that person. So learn from such a person who doesn't want anything from you, who continuously, without any compromise, keeps your attention, brings your attention to the infinite without any hooks. Hooks, let me initiate you. Join with me. No hooks. Our hook is only one, Narayana. Our hook is only the God. Because that God alone is expressing as the whole creation. That will come afterwards. Continuing, हो गया time? Perfect timing. So we'll start from 891 in our next class. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Just sit quietly for a moment.